I am back. It seems to me that just about every lawyer who would choose to get involved with the rotten bastard, the orange vomit, Donald Trump, is risking his or her law license, possibly risking time in jail, displaying these attorneys who would represent Trump, displaying that they have no regard for the law, that they are there not to honor and respect the law, but to denigrate it, to try to destroy it, to try to remove it so that the Nazi pig Donald Trump can assume power. The latest is an attorney named Christina Bobb, B-O-B-B. She is a lawyer for the Orange Vomit who signed a letter. She signed a letter in which she stated that, her words, a diligent search for classified records had been conducted at Mar-a-Lago, and that all such documents had been given back to the government. Well, guess who she is talking with lately? The FBI wants to talk to her because could this be obstruction of justice? Could Miss Christina be part of a plot to destroy the U.S. government? Huh? Now, Christina told the FBI during an interview this past Friday, this according to the Associated Press, that she didn't write the letter. I didn't draft that letter. But that a different Trump lawyer, who Christina said actually prepared it, had asked her to sign it. Oh, my God. I'm sure a lawyer is going to do that, right? Bitch, quit lying. But Christina said that this other lawyer asked her to sign it in her role as a designated custodian of Trump's records. So now we're supposed to believe that poor old Christina, being educated in the law, when she was asked to sign something she had nothing to do with, according to her, she said, oh, sure, where do I sign? Right there? Okay, you going to notarize it? Okay. Now, this whole bullshit story, of course, and you know it's bullshit as well as I do. All of these fuckers lie. Every single one of them. But this whole thing is of interest to the FBI because the Justice Department says the letter was a lie in asserting that all classified records sought by the government, the National Archives, had been located and had been returned. Ta-da! Now, that letter that Christina signed, I didn't know what I was signing. That letter and 38 other documents bearing classification markings were handed over to the FBI and the Justice Department officials during that June 3rd visit to Mar-a-Lago. And then FBI agents returned to the Florida hovel of this filthy bastard Trump with a search warrant on August 8th, 2 months later, and glommed up about 100 additional classified records. What do you want to bet that there's more there now? Huh? Now, according to a court filing in August, the signed certification letter, the one that Christina signed, was given to investigators who visited Mar-a-Lago on June 3rd to collect this additional classified material from the Orange Vomit's Winter Palace. And you'll notice, these are all voluntary. They didn't resort to search warrants and court orders until this filthy fucking traitor to the United States, Donald Trump, when it became evident by people in his inner circle who were saying, hey, wait a minute, hey, FBI, this fucker's lying. When it became evident that he was lying through his ass, that's when they had to go get a court order. Because Trump lies every time he opens his mouth. That's all he's about. The Justice Department had weeks before June 3rd, before the August court filing, they had issued a subpoena for these records after it became clear and they had evidence that more classified documents remained at Trump's Winter Palace beyond the 15 boxes recovered in January by the National Archives, and then again in June, and now in August. And the letter that Christina signed produced for investigators, investigators said that in response to the subpoena, quote, a diligent search was conducted of the boxes that were moved from the White House to Florida, and that any and all responsive documents accompany this certification. The letter also included the caveat that the statements in it were true based on the information that has been provided to me. That's what Christina signed. Information provided to her. Okay. So knowing she was working for a lying son of a bitch named Donald Trump, twice impeached, should have been convicted and sent to fucking prison on something. But Christina wants the FBI now to believe, hey, listen, what do I know? I just, all the evidence presented to me said all the classified shit was gone. What do I know? Now, at the time, the FBI was presented with an envelope containing 38 documents with classification markings, including at the top secret level. But FBI agents began to suspect that they hadn't received the entire stash of records. That's why they went to a judge and got this warrant that they enforced in August. Christina, you're going to lose your license, honey. Christina told the FBI that the letter was actually written up and, prepared by a different one of Trump's lawyers, someone named M. Evan Corcoran. And the M. Evan Corcoran had asked her to sign it, had asked our hapless Christina to sign it because she was the custodian of the records. And we're to believe that Christina said, oh, okay. Now, this other asshole, M. Evan Corcoran, was contacted by email and phone message by the AP for a comment, and of course, no response. And spokespersons for the FBI and the Justice Department said no comment. And Christina said no comment. Well, she didn't even say that. She just ignored any attempt to get in touch with her. Now, the interview between the FBI and Christina Bobb, poor Christina, that was first reported by NBC News, and the person familiar with it said it was a voluntary discussion with investigators and didn't take place before a grand jury, and she is not regarded as a target of the investigation, yada, 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 to which I might add, yet. You see, the Justice Department has said that beyond investigating possible crimes in keeping the documents themselves, what the Orange Vomit did, the Justice Department is also investigating whether anyone tried to obstruct the probe by the Justice Department into what the fuck is going on. And at this point, it's not clear if anyone will be charged because, I don't mean this to sound as snotty or to be as snotty as it's going to sound, but nobody's been charged because the Attorney General of the United States has not yet come to the conclusion that this filthy son of a bitch, Donald Trump, should be treated now as any other person. He's a fucking criminal. He stole classified government documents. Jesus Christ. Hey, listen, if somehow you breached the White House, let's say you were able to do it, and you got into the inner sanctums in the White House, and you found classified documents, and oops, you dropped your driver's license when you were stealing the shit, and you fled, and you went and hid on a farm in New Zealand. How long do you think it would take the U.S. government to track you down, have the New Zealand authorities arrest and extradite your ass, send you back to the United States, and your ass would be put on trial, and you'd be in jail before the fucking emails could pass back and forth between the United States and New Zealand governments. That's how the law works around this shit. Except, apparently, for the Orange Vomit and his gang of Christian terrorists. I can't understand this. It's not for me to understand. I'm just an American citizen. What the fuck do I need to know, right? And then, you know what Trump has done now? He put 3 fucked up fascist Christians on the U.S. Supreme Court. So he's counting that these 3 fucked up fascist Christians, along with the other 2 fucked up fascist Christians, and the not quite as fucked up Christian, John Roberts, that those 6 are going to protect his ass. And after the appellate court ruled that this useless goddamn Judge Cannon or Bannon, whatever the hell her name is, who said, no, Justice Department, you can't have the documents to continue your criminal investigation, even though they're stolen documents and Trump has no legal claim to them. See, Bannon needs, Cannon, what the fuck is her name? Cannon? She needs to be impeached and given a job that she's qualified for. Like, I don't know, maybe working as a clerk at Walmart. No offense to clerks at Walmart, okay? So now, ta-da, the Supreme Court is considering an emergency appeal from Trump, asking the Supreme Court to overturn that appellate court ruling and go ahead and permit the special master to review the 100 documents with classified markings that were taken August 8th when the FBI did a search of Trump's Winter Palace. I guess the feeling is they don't want the Justice Department because the Justice Department will look at this shit and say, indict this motherfucker, indict him now. For its part, the Justice Department, in a 32-page filing to the Supreme Court about this issue, said that the Orange Vomit's claim has no merit. In the first place, they weren't his to begin with. And secondly, the case involves what the Justice Department calls, quote, extraordinarily sensitive government records, end quote. Woo! Now you have to remember something, and I found this to be just, a little bit ironic almost. Not quite. But that 3-judge panel from the 11th Circuit that's based here in Atlanta, U.S. Court of Appeals, last month limited the special master's review to a much larger collection of non-classified documents. And those 3 judges, including 2 who were Trump appointees, agreed with the Justice Department. And the Justice Department argued there was no legal basis for any special master or anybody to conduct a separate review of the classified records. In other words, what the fuck was the point? There's a crime involved here. A crime committed by this filthy Donald Trump. So the 3-judge panel said, look, Trump's crazier than a fucking loon, so you go ahead, Justice Department, and continue. So Trump now is taking it to the Supreme Court. I hope the Supreme Court rules the way they ruled against Nixon with his tapes, that the tapes had to be released. And within hours, Nixon resigned. The cat, you might say, was so far out of the fucking bag it could never get put back in. But Trump knows that if the Justice Department looks at the documents and realizes, oh my God, he had this information. What? He was going to share with the Russians? He was going to share with the Chinese? He was going to use to embarrass the president of France? He was going to sell these? He's going to manipulate those? Because I would be willing to bet. Not a lot, but, a little bit, maybe $20. I would be willing to bet that along with those documents, they're going to find some notes, either written by Trump or dictated by Trump, that said things like this. Put a paper clip on this one because this is the one I want to use to embarrass the president of France because he didn't treat me nice. Let me see. All right, these over here, the ones from my good friend Kim in North Korea, set those aside because I may want to build a big resort in Pyongyang, and I want Kim to remember our beautiful love letters back and forth, and on like that. Because Trump is a sick fucker. He's out of his mind, in addition to being a thug and a thief. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.